All right. Let me mute. Go. I'm here, Kia, so whenever you want to start.
Okay. So you all, we welcome to the meeting, and this is our level up meeting, and I forgot my music again. Oh no. But I just want to welcome you all on. Our goal for today is just to make sure that everybody's on the same page for expectations for our classes and co-op. So that's what we'll do. The board is Ashley, and I know I saw her on here somewhere. Jen and myself. And so welcome. Okay, so we have our 4 groups, our lemons, which are age 8 to 9, grapes 10 to 11, apples 12 to 13, and mangoes 13 through 18. And the groups stay pretty much the same, give or take, but they are aging. So this age range, if you're like, oh, my kid just turned this, we don't switch on age, we switch on space. We kind of line the kids up in a big row from youngest to oldest, and then work our way down to keep our classes making sense because they're with their peer group, but also not to get too large. We are child-centered. We prioritize creating experiences that empower students to take ownership of their journey while fostering a sense of belonging and purpose, okay? Being a community is a process. You have to build your community. It's ongoing. And then I think one of the things that we are seeing as we get a little larger is that communication is key to how we build relationships. Sometimes that can be uncomfortable, right? And that includes things like as you're leading your class, as you're interacting with kids, having to have hard conversation with parents just to let them know if their student is not behaving or not participating in what we would say is a healthy and encouraging way, right? Learning to have those conversations and make sure that all the parents kind of know what's happening. We are the leader in the classroom, but the parents are still a huge factor, right? And as we get busy and everybody has their duties, we want to encourage everyone to still be communicating with each other and working with each other. And I want to say, and I don't know if it's again later, that to remember that as we grow our community, that all of us are coming from different places with different experiences and different backgrounds. And we are in a very social media focused time period, right? I encourage you all to take time in getting to know each other and having conversations, because I think what happens is it's fun. We see each other every Wednesday and then we feel like we know people really well. But to remember that we all are we bring ourselves to co-op, but it's ourselves with all the experiences and thoughts and beliefs that we have. And each family unit is going to be different. It looks different, sounds different, but also they may have different histories and even current opinions and ideas. And I think we need to make sure that we're respecting that within the co-op as we grow and learn. Each class should incorporate culture, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking. Critical thinking is a must in current times, right? That's kind of the root of a lot of problems that we see out there, is that people are not thinking critically in different situations. So we really want to foster that with our kids. For the culture is about culture. It is about really looking at the stories of Black, Brown, and Indigenous people, but understanding that those stories are part of all of our history, our science, our math, art, everything you can think of, right? So we want to be talking about the culture, but also looking at how it builds into our classes, okay? We love to see group activities, things that the kids are working with together. We come together for a different experience than what you get when you're at home homeschooling, right? So think of those things that you can't do alone, that you need a few other people in the room in order to make it a fun or engaging activity for the students. And I think we all kind of know when we say to tap into creativity, what we mean, but I like to borrow a phrase from Ashley. If you're unsure how something will go across, reach out to us. We'll be thought partners with you just to kind of take a look at the lesson or the activity or whatever it is you want to bring to our attention. Okay, so this is kind of a repeat about building the classes, but at this point you've already done that, right? You've chosen your topic of interest, you've researched your topic, and then you're going to map out your class. This is the part that we're honing in on, the lesson that's due, I think it's this week, right? Looking at a week-by-week outline of your class, listing the main topic and objectives for each session. I would even say if you're not used to presenting to a group of kids, to go ahead and present it to your kids or whoever you draft to be your guinea pigs, right? And see how the flow goes, because a lot of times we want to jam pack things, but remembering that you have only once a week, a tiny slot, and making sure you're really exploring how much you can put into that slot, right? You also want to make sure that you're integrating books, activities, videos. You just want to make this as interesting as possible. So you can have your general outline and maybe spice it up when you look at books that you can bring in from our public library, lessons that you might find on Teacher Pay Teacher. Those are some of the less expensive activities, but you also might have curriculum at home. You can pull out pieces to fit into what you're building, just to make sure that you're giving a variety of modalities and ways of learning in each session. So that includes like maybe having the kids read something, maybe having them repeat something, listening to something. So you can hit all the things, building something, putting something together, working with partners, hit all the different ways that kids learn, but it also keeps the lessons interesting and keeps the kids engaged. So they are 60-minute classes. It's 6-week sessions. And this time, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, that we've built in a kind of showcase week for the 7th week. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm just realizing, I don't know if I'm sharing the wrong screen, but yeah, so we will have 6 weeks of classes. The 7th week will be open for presentations. And then also, I haven't talked to you and Ashley about it yet, but I think that might be also the week that we do photos for the yearbook, so that we're not cramming that in on another day. And then we will have a spring break, and then 6 more weeks. And then the 7th week is presentations again.
Okay. This doesn't mean that each class has to have a presentation, but we do generally have enough classes that would like the time that it's worth building in. So we want to make sure that we give you that option.
Is it working?
Okay, so in your classroom culture, we want to set clear expectations. And that is so that the kids who are in the room with you know what you're expecting them to do, right? Because we're communicating this with them, but also don't assume that everybody has been in a classroom setting before or is used to engaging repeatedly in a classroom setting, right? That's a different skill set. So we are going to make sure we kind of like hone in on that and set clear expectation. You want to keep your lessons engaging and interactive. Thinking about time, I like to assign time to someone because I am a talker, so I will go over time in a minute, okay? I also, when I'm in the thick of things, I'm not constantly checking the time, so you want to think about whatever resource you want to use. A timer is also a good thing, so like on your phone or any other kind of timer. Communicating with parents. If you have things that you want the students to do outside of just that block of time we're together, making sure that it's posted. We usually post it within our co-op Facebook page, but underneath when it's like what to do for next week or what are we doing, you want to make sure that it's posted so parents know, communicating with parents if their student is not engaging. So if a student is coming in and they're distracted by their cell phone or, just not engaging in the lesson, let their parents know. We do expect students to really participate, to give it the best, to give them the best experience, but also to give their peers a great experience, right? A lot of what we're doing leans on the community. And so for the kids, it is going to be more engaging and fun if all the students are participating, okay? Encourage them to be positive community members. This means that it's, if we're not on task, if we're not interacting, if we're not respecting supplies and following direction of whoever the leader is at the time, then you are not being a positive member of, our community. Uh-oh. Let's see. Sorry. And so, Jen, I can't see your screen. I don't know why.
No, she got booted off.
Oh no, that's okay. I don't actually have the presentation memorized, so I'm not sure what is coming up next. But one of the things that we have noticed, like we did have some classes where the feedback from the teacher was that they had class for however many weeks and only one or two of the students in the class actually did the homework assigned, right? We are not heavy on homework, but because we are limited to just an hour a week, it does limit how much you can engage in any topic. So a lot of what the homework assignments do is just provide the kids with more opportunity to think, to engage with the topic, but also to come back prepared so that they can interact at a higher level with their peers to make the time more useful, right? So I know last round, Mari did I think protest music, and so she talked about music within it, and she had the kids go watch a Netflix special that you could find. It wasn't just on Netflix, but I guess you could find it lots of places. It was really interesting. It provided a lot of thinking for the kids, but if you didn't watch it, then when you came back to the class to discuss it, then you're playing catch up or you're missing out. And so I think that it's important that as we go forward, we're really kind of stressing that students participate, but that also you let parents know, hey, I've noticed your student doesn't come with the reading done or hasn't done any of the assignments, okay? Tips for teaching. So structure your class the same each week, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it helps you get in really quickly. Remember, we only have 6 weeks. You kind of want to establish a way of doing things with the group, and then so you can get to work really quickly every week you come in and not be wasting time, okay? Be creative, hands-on lesson, and a lot of this I've gone over. Make samples. Also test your experiments or your artwork. Jen was saying she had a really interesting art class. Was it this past one or the one before? But she did create each of the art activities that the students did, and it really made to make sure that, one, you can do it in that amount of time, but also to troubleshoot, and that'll really help you in, having a better time, both as the teacher leader, but also the students who are in there. And then also remember that unexpected things come up. We're all human and we're all people, so we kind of take those in stride as much as possible.
And I would like to add too, we do the surveys to get the kids' feedback, and some of the feedback that came back, the kids could tell the parent, teacher wasn't prepared. So they're like, oh, they didn't have this done on a week-to-week basis. And so these are kids. And so we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to do the lesson before we come, practice it, have an example that you're able to express or lead the class in whatever activity that you're doing.
Okay. And I don't know, is it able to move to the next screen or we might be stuck?
It's showing it now. Upstairs it was telling me it wasn't, so I moved here. So I'll go back up there. Apparently it just wants me to get a workout. I'll be back.
Okay, no problem. Technical difficulties. That's okay. Okay, so this is something for our new lead teachers, but also for people who are returning. We really kind of wanted to look at our roles, right? To make everybody accountable, but also to make sure we're using our power, like the people we have, as much as possible. Of course, it disappeared when I was going to start reading it, but we have the two roles, right? Up until now, I think sometimes the second teacher assigned, the assistant teacher, has taken more like a very backseat role, right? And what we want to do is to provide you all with a team member that can be more active and engaging with you. Now, the lead teacher in the room is the one who submitted their class. Okay, they've laid out these 6 weeks. Okay, they have the details, they developed the lessons, they have all the material, right? What we want to see happening is that sharing of information across to your assistant teacher, right? So that they can really help you with your lessons. They can help with supplies. They can monitor the students, right? Making sure they're engaged. They'll know when to start cleaning up or what needs to happen. And so the more you're able to share across from your lead teacher to your assistant teacher makes both roles easier for both people, but also helps it run smoothly. Remembering that the assistant teacher is also who is going to be asked to step up or step in to lead the lesson if for some reason our lead teacher has to be absent for a week. So it's really important that everybody kind of knows what's going on in the class and understands it, but it also does help the assistant teacher provide better assistance when they have a clear understanding of the class. And so I think what we want to see happening is that to empower our assistant teachers to take an active role and really feel like they are not just observing the class, but really contributing to the class and helping everyone have a better experience. Okay, so we've kind of been over this, but one of the things that we really need to know when you all are doing your lessons, right? We want the class description, activities, technology needs. We don't have a million computers or a million this, so we really need to look at technology needs. This helps us also look at where classes are placed and make sure that everybody gets what they need during their time that they're given, right? And then materials needed, right? And so that also helps with us making sure that we get your supplies in a timely fashion, get the things you need, but also because we do have a supply fee coming, we want to make sure that we are having time to get them at the most affordable cost as we're paying, to have these supplies, but also to see if there are things that we think we already have on board or someone has, we can work on that as well. So we just need those things to be as clear and detailed as possible. All of it should be spelled out, but especially making sure that you're clear about your technology needs and materials needed. So you're going to just submit the one for the class that you're proposing, right? And so the class has been accepted. That's the class that's happening. So that's the one you're kind of laying out. We are asking for no changes, if at all possible, because when we did put this together, we did consider like the topics, the age group, and what's going on. So it may not seem like a big deal to change a topic from something in STEM to something in literature, except for we did try to kind of make sure the kids had an interesting day and a variety of things. So they may already have something in literature happen. They may already have something in art happening. And so your class is fulfilling that STEM piece and vice versa for all of those things, okay? Make sure that if you are going to change, we need to know before co-op starts, right? And that once classes start, no major changes, right? If you're having trouble, let us know. A lot of us have been doing this a long time in different capacities for different groups of students, right? And then if we can't figure it out, the board can't help, there's gonna be somebody in our community that'll have brilliant ideas that you're gonna be like, oh, I never thought of that, and it'll be awesome. But we only know that you need assistance or you're gonna need something if you communicate that to us, okay? Any questions about that? If you already foresee a problem, then like the sooner you let us know, the better. And I mean, even if you're just like, well, I did this and I'm only coming up with 3 weeks of things that make sense. And so that's why I'm looking at something else. Like I said, we're here to help you and assist. We'll sit, we'll talk it through, and I'm sure that we can assist you in getting to whatever goal is you need to meet, okay? The supply fee. Now, all of the money we would like to see exchanged through us, okay? We don't want collection of fees. If you have a last minute thing that you need purchased, please let us know so we can figure out the best way to make that happen. One, it just makes it easier when it's accounting for money. Got to be careful with that. Every organization should be, right? But two, remembering that everybody's financial situation may not be the same, and it may feel like you're only asking, okay, kids, we're going to get this. If everybody could just bring 5 next week, you know, that may not seem a lot, but it could be a burden for a family, especially considering that some families have 1 or 2 or 4 or 5 kids. So when you're asking for a fee or for money at the last minute, that can be a burden. Also, there are some things that we have built into for the culture as a group that you all may not be aware of. And so we just want to make sure that we're careful about it and that we are sticking to whatever kind of budget or fees that we've decided beforehand. So we're not surprising families, but we also understand things come up and maybe you didn't realize you needed this piece because we want your lesson to be great. Let us know so we can figure out a great solution. Make sure you're letting us know why you want the money, so your purpose and amount as exact as you can, okay? We want all the members to be in attendance, so let us know if you're not going to make it. We're asking each teacher to only miss like 2, I think up to 2 if they have to. We prefer none, right? It's only 6 classes and then a 7th lesson when you are the lead teacher. So we're asking that if at all possible, you're not miss those, but we understand that people get sick, emergency happen. If you're sick, if your kid's sick, we prefer for you to just let us know, right? We want to try to keep everybody as healthy as possible and not pass that on. Just being mindful to let us know as far in advance as you know. So sometimes it's the morning of, let your assistant teacher know, okay? Because they're the person who, like I said, will step up and then we'll move from there. I'm hoping not to have any unexplained absences or absences where we don't find out until after class is starting. Just even if you're like, oh no, car's not starting, give us a heads up and we usually can work with that. I'm encouraging you all, when you find out who your assistant teacher is, to exchange contact information so that you all can keep up with each other, because sometimes in the past a lead teacher will be out and we may know, but the assistant teacher doesn't know until we get there. Right. And so it would be good for them to have a heads up. They will have been the one that you shared all the information with, so they know the flow of the class. They know what's supposed to be coming. So it would be good if they have a heads up. What's also nice is that because we do have space now, if there are big supplies that need to be left at co-op, then we will be using our space for that. And so then we don't have to worry about if something is with one teacher or another teacher, or even if things in the past have been with myself, Jen, or Ashley. And so then it depends on us being there if the activity can take place. So we want to try to avoid that. And I think that the solution of having our office space will do that. But remembering that it's not a huge space, but it's large enough that we should be able to accommodate that.
Everybody knows that yet. So if you want to explain.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that. Yes. So we are going to have office space upstairs this upcoming season. So we thought we've grown. We want to have some access for you all to leave materials. We have more and more materials that need to be stored somewhere, and on site is the easiest and best way for us to do that. So we're excited. We're happy we've grown. It's a milestone. And so it should make things move more smoothly as we go forward.
So if you do have something in your class, I mean, the Legos is the main thing I can think of right now, but just something that you know that your class is going to use from week to week, but you're not sending it back with them, we'll be able to put it up in the office. And that way, if for like you are unforeseen are going to be absent, your class's supplies will still be there, and your assistant will be able to get them. I feel like there was something else you said, Kia, that I wanted to. Oh, for absences, for like missing things, we kind of have the class schedule set for the first 6 weeks and the second 6 weeks right now. But if you know for sure you're going on a trip or like something's happening and it's going to be definitely in the first 6 weeks or the last, and you want to let us know, we can try to make sure that we schedule you to teach a class at the time that you are not going to be gone, if you have a time that you already know you're going to be gone. That's all.
Okay. And
Very
so we always ask our members to be consistent. And you all know we have registration open to co-op first, and then we open it to the wider group. And that's a privilege that gets lost if you're gone too much. But I foresee that everybody will be there all the days because it's super fun and it's awesome. So I expect you all only to be gone when you're not feeling well. And that's for the good of the group too, right? So your lesson plans are due December 13th. Our welcome day is January 15th, and the first day of spring co-op is January 22nd. So these are our important days. So we always do communication through our Facebook group, our email, and then Facebook Messenger. So you can reach us pretty easily through all of those. Okay. I always encourage, I know some of us don't use Facebook as much as others do, right? So if you're just on Facebook for your homeschool experience with co-op and with other groups, just asking that you kind of check that often, every day or minimum every other day, especially the co-op group, because that is where a lot of the updates go for co-op or announcements. When we have days where the kids dress, we post them, but we also will maybe have reminders there. It's a great place to ask any general questions. And so just keeping up with those things is important. So reach out to co-op leadership when you need more support. Talk to Ashley, Jen, or Kia. You can send us an email. You all. So I will say that sometimes, like I'm the worst, because when you ask me, like a million people have asked me, what is the Wi-Fi code? Y'all, that's not my strength or my ministry. I don't know the Wi-Fi code. I've been here the whole time. I know it has a point in it now, but I just never remember. I've also asked the other community members, right? When you're asking for things that you're like, oh, I bet you know, this is something that you normally have set up or how something is. All the community, especially those who've been here, might have answers for you, right? And we've got people who've been here from the very beginning who are happy and eager to fill you in if you need help with like those kind of things. But the three of us are also available, and it's okay if you ask me or you ask Ashley or ask Jen, just making sure that you kind of touch base with us if you're having questions. Don't be shy. That's that communication piece again, right? Also, I just want you all to remember that I think, is there another one asked this after this, Ashley? I mean, Jen? No? Okay. Questions, right. I just want to reemphasize that we are a community that's in process of growing. We are super excited. Like getting the office is super exciting. We've never had an office space before, right? Having so many kids, you all, for us, this is like, wow, it's so many kids. It is amazing, super exciting, sometimes a little overwhelming, but we're excited that we are providing all of our students a chance to have a large community, to make lifelong friends, to create connections among the kids as well as the adults. What I encourage is that we all kind of take a community support building journey mindset, right? Remembering that these are all people that we're just building connections to, and that to really stress, because this is very important to me, that communication is the key to learning, growing, and connecting. And if you are a good communicator, then you'll find it easy to interact and work with people from all different backgrounds with all different mindsets, right? It's really important that as we discover our community and we grow, that we are expanding the way we think about things, challenging our peers, other parents, and then whoever's involved to think differently about things, but learning that we don't all have to be a monolith. We're all unique individuals, and we bring our uniqueness with us. And I think we can learn to appreciate, not just include, but appreciate and really, honestly enjoy the perspectives of others. And I think that's what I'm going to encourage our parents to do, as well as for us to get our kids in there involved, happy, and participating in anything. If there are questions, we are now open for questions. Please ask me something, anything, and we'll see that you get an answer. And then if you put it in the chat, I'm going to try to check the chat. Okay, I see. Okay. I think all of these.
I do want to address is as far as like community and culture with the kids. And I will say some of the feedback that we got from the surveys, especially from like the mangoes, the apples, and the grapes, is that there's kids who aren't always the kindest. So if you acknowledge that, I mean, and we don't want to have a negative culture, and we want to be positive. We want to show our kids, you know, there's an upside to things, also how to set boundaries. And if there's a negative conversation that's happening, to empower them to say, hey, do we need to have this conversation? Should we be talking like this? Maybe you need to go talk to this person? Because I mean, as a parent, that made me really sad to see some of the feedback, and it was the kids telling on each other. So before we go back to co-op in January, make sure we're having these conversations. If our kids are having some type of like conflict, that you model to them how to resolve issues. And if not, tried working with the other parent. And if you need a mediator, I'm sure one of us would be happy to do that. But we definitely need to change the energy with our kids and make sure that we're having these like redirecting these conversations to something positive. And that was all I had to say.
Yes. So Tiffany had a question about how many kids are in the Lemon next session. I think it's 12. I can't.
I think it's 12 also. Let me look. I think I put it in the email when I assigned classes, but I'm not. Yeah, I think it's 12 because Tiffany, we were planning, which is another thing we need to put on our list, Kia, is to get another Lego kit for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the groups are 12, 12, and 13 and 13, but I don't have it. I don't know if one of you all can see it. I'm on a very old computer. If I do too much on it,
I'll pull it up right now. You need to see it.
Okay. And then it says, has it ever been considered to revisit the course that were not chosen? Linnea, right? Okay, yes, we have, and we've had some people resubmit the initial topic, and then it was picked that round. But definitely, if you feel passionate about something you have done and you're like, hey, I really wanted to do this, let us know so that we can start thinking ahead how to incorporate it or thinking about how it will fit in. But for sure, we can definitely revisit courses that have already been submitted but weren't chosen. Nancy needs a house tooth. Is that what that says? Look, y'all, I'm gonna put my glasses back on. Yes. Speaker for her class. Bluetooth, yes. Well, yeah, I think we got the Bluetooth speaker situation covered. I will get with them about that, but we'll add it to the list. But make sure that you add it in your technology needs for the lesson plan. Oh, I'm so glad that you brought that up about the name tags. And yeah, kids do get pretty cranky when they feel like you should know their name. We'll talk to them about that. Remember that we've gotten big. And I tell kids I have an old person's mind, so it might take me a couple times. But as far as safety goes, we really would like to see both our students and adults wearing name tags, right? Remembering it's a shared building. We are unable to lock the doors of the building because it is a shared building. There are businesses, a lawyer and other types of businesses that run in there, as well as the church, which has its own business to attend to. So we can't lock the doors, but we do want to be mindful of the fact that we want to be able to identify who belongs to us. With so many new adults as well, we want our students to know who their safe adults are and who there should be asking for assistance, right? Also, we will be looking at maybe assigning, not even maybe, but assigning duty stations, okay? Just areas where we're going to ask that parents who are not teaching at the time to kind of mind, so that when people are coming in, we're not checking people in, but we just want to be mindful that we see that, okay, there's this foot traffic, so we need to notice that. Also making sure that as our kids are walking to the bathroom, they're going to the bathroom and they're returning promptly to wherever they're belonging. We saw a little bit of hall lingering this last time, and we want to kind of tap down on that, because part of what keeps us safe is being where we're expected to be, right? Also, talking with your student. A lot of times the kids get excited about things, and I noticed this several times in the cooking and the dissection class. The kids would be like, oh, I gotta just go show my mom this frog, or how I cut this or did this. But having kids walking back and forth and moving around is not a great way to keep up with them, and also keep the hallways clear and everybody on task and focusing. So we're gonna ask for you all just to talk with your child and let them know that, hey, even though I'm here and you're available to them, and I know sometimes you will go in because they'll ask you, can you come to my class now so that you can see this? That's fine, but wanting them to really get used to staying where they're supposed to be during the time that they're supposed to be there, okay? Because it is a safety hazard for them to just be wandering around and they're looking for a parent, and maybe a parent is assisting in another class or even in the bathroom. And so sometimes you have kids who are going from spot to spot to spot looking for a parent, and we want to kind of like, you know, bring that to a minimum and make sure that everybody's where they're supposed to be. And then let your student know that they can say, hey, I'm really upset. I really need to talk to my parent, because then we can, as adults that are free, make sure that we're helping them find their parent and alleviate whatever's going on in that situation. So we're not saying parents are off limits. We're just saying we need to be mindful of how much we're doing that, and then assisting kids to get to where they need to go as quickly as possible. So that's what safety. Will we receive feedback on the submitted lesson plans? Yes. And so that's part of why we want the week by week. If we're looking through it, you'll either get an all good signal. We might give suggestions if we think, right, is needed. And we also, that's part of like one of the things we ask for is curriculum. If there's some curriculum has things, because we're a secular group, right? We're science-based. Some curriculum have things that are buried in it that may not fit those things, right? And so, like I said, some of us have been doing this a long time. Some of us are newer. And what can happen is that you may be using a resource that you've only vetted, like, because you've only read it, what you've read, right? And not know that as you go deeper or as you pull from this, they're pulling from sources that maybe are not a good fit for the culture. So we do things like that. If it's an all go though, you just might get like okay, great, we're glad we got your stuff, right? But if there is anything that we have questions about, or we think we can be more useful, like if we see you're planning something and we're like, oh, we tried to do that, this is what happened. We're not going to discourage you from doing it, but I think there's always ways to think about things to create more success. And I think that's what we want to see happen.
She was asking to, Angela, you're asking about clubs. The clubs are for all ages. That is the reason that we have that one, is because a lot of the kids are pretty close in age. And so it's an opportunity to hang out with kids who are not in their group, quote unquote. And before I forget, if you are a new family, please email me photos of yourself or any adult, like if another adult is planning to be around often, and the children, so that I can order the ID cards and that they'll be here before co-op starts.
A question about the bathroom, and we'll be sure to include that in our loop as we're looking at monitoring, just to keep it from becoming a hangout area. Some of these things are natural and normal, and that's good. Like kids like to congregate wherever they can, where they don't have someone telling them to do something else, right? Because for some of our students, the most fun part of co-op is like that chit-chatting and talking and hanging out with friends, right? That's okay. So we're not gonna beat them over the head about it, but we do want to be like, okay, come on, you guys, let's get going. So we'll just kind of be more aware to just make sure that they're having fun in the ways that we want them to, right? And I think that's what's important. I see any more questions. You all can,
I do. Jen, you had mentioned an email, and I didn't learn about the class that I was doing because I talked to Key about it, but I didn't get a message about anything. So I think I might have missed something. If you send an email out about the class assignments that had other information in it, could you resend it to me also, please?
Yes, I did send you. I think I did. So I will double check on that. If anybody else did not get an email telling them which one of their two classes was chosen, yeah, please let us know. And I can resend that, and I'll double check that I have your email address correct. I would think I would, but I'll double check.
Yeah, and for most of you, I still got a message from me, but there might have been a follow-up message, so we'll look at that, okay? Make sure everybody gets. And we do need to, and we can post the numbers in our group, can't we, Jen?
Oh, I didn't
group?
tell you. I knew there was something I was doing. So it's 12 kids in every group, except the grapes have 13.
Grapes. I knew it was one with 13. Nancy's asking, when will they find out which session they're teaching? Ooh, okay. So I don't think we didn't. We told them which class and the age level, but we didn't.
So we had to wait. We have to wait for the lesson plans to come in, so we know who needs screens and stuff, so that we can organize the class. We have to assign the classrooms based on that. So as soon as we get all the lesson plans in and we're able to go through them and organize that, then we'll be able to tell you. If you do have a preference for some reason, let us know. We usually try to have all of the people that are coming back, or it won't be everybody, but we try to let the newbies teach the second half to give them a chance to acclimate and stuff. So if you're returning, the chances are you'll be teaching first, but not 100%.
Not, yeah, because of how many we are, because of
Yeah,
our
'cause we
number
have
now.
so many.
And then what we can do is, we can make sure that we are posting, so we can do the class lists, class size, and when we know for sure who's teaching first round, second
Yes,
round, we can post it. We'll post it in the co-op group, and so it'll be
Mhm.
there for everybody to reference and look at.
Before we're done completely, I'm going to have Jennifer remind everybody to upload their pictures for yearbook.
Okay.
But if there's any more questions, I don't want to stop that, but I don't want to forget either.
Maybe make a note about Talia, because Quentin's graduating, and so she'd prefer to teach the first round,
Okay.
if possible.
I think I just have more of like a logistical question, but how are kids move from one class to the next? And then also with that, what are like lunch procedures like, just so I can make sure I prep my kids of like, hey, you need to clean up. Obviously, you need to clean up after yourself, but like if they need to help sweep or, wipe down tables, anything like that.
So class, we that's why we stress about everybody keeping up with time. So everybody's gets the timing, and what we do is if everybody releases at the same time and they have like a few minutes to get to the next class, and then we try to all start at the same time. So we are pushing them along in the hallways and up the stairs. Also, it does help that since they're all released at the same time, if you're a little bit behind, you notice, because the next kids that need your room will start showing up and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's time. So we do that. For lunch, we do ask everybody to clean up their space, and then whatever class, because we do use the area where we eat for class sessions. So whatever class is happening next, once they've kind of established how they want their tables, usually the kids who have the class next, as well as adults who are around, we start moving things where they need to go. But we ask that all the kids and adults pick up after themselves and leave their areas neat. Now, one thing that we do at the end of co-op is, as a group, clean up the main area, make sure everything is arranged, and we leave the room so that whatever organizations or group that use them for the rest of the week, they're how the church expects it to be set up. And so that's mainly how we're doing it. We probably do need to work on getting a really organized way of doing that. What's happened is we've outpaced our method of doing it, was just everybody doing it, working together, but we are a lot larger than we were. So when it was small and even medium, I feel like that worked well, but now we're gonna figure some of those out. So if anybody has a great suggestion or wants to take the lead, Ashley, Jen, and I'm going to speak for everybody, would be very happy for you to do
I was
so.
just thinking what I want to do. I hadn't thought about this until just right now, so I'm glad you said it. It's like we need to get some more brooms and whatever they're called,
The little dustpans,
yes, we'll just donate some, because that's rough trying to find a good one there.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, any other questions?
A little bit about, just for anybody who hasn't been there yet, the location where we are, it's called Woodlawn Point Community Center. It formerly was a church. There are spiritual services there on Sundays, but it is a community center that houses a lot of nonprofits, which is why like we really love being there. Fiesta Youth is there. I forgot what it's called, but there's like a prom dress organization there where they like collect prom dresses and let the kids have them for free. There's an immigration attorney there who offers free services. So it's a really great location, but it is also a nonprofit itself. So we try to do the best that we can to support what they're doing in the same way that they're supporting what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tiffany had a great idea to assign it to a different class each week, and with that many kids attached to that many, I think that would be a good idea. So
that is, we thought about assigning families, but the class would be a lot easier.
Yes, because it could just be like, this week is mangoes, right? That's a great idea. Thank you, Tiffany. Any other questions? Concerns, questions? Thank you all for coming.
Sorry, Kia, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We will also have that the first week before co-op, we'll have like a welcome day where we'll come in, we'll do this a similar style presentation that's more geared towards the kids and the expectations for them. We'll have them sign an agreement. They'll, be able to familiarize themselves with this space. So some of the questions hopefully will be answered.
All right, really quick before y'all leave, I just wanted to mention that the yearbook, we do have a yearbook club, and we have started already. We have sort of a core group of moms that have volunteered to help run and organize the yearbook. There are slots still open. We always welcome help. Additionally, if you don't want to, maybe commit every time, or if you want to just come in and check it out and help, when we have the meetings and the gatherings, you're also welcome to do that. I am still learning some of the programming. We had our first meeting today, and we ran into some logistical, those unforeseeable things with the Wi-Fi that kind of slowed us down. However, having said that, what also happened is the kids, once they got in and on, they really were beginning to take charge and have like ownership on the yearbook, which was a lot of fun. And so I'm just asking again, just a reminder, if everyone, I know that many of you that have been taking photos and videos have already taken time to upload them on the Facebook, which we love. However, I am asking you to please upload them directly to kind of maybe choose, go through and choose photos, but to upload them directly to the Tree Ring site. Everyone will need, if you are planning to order a yearbook, you will actually need an account anyway. So even if you're not one that takes photos a lot, you'll definitely need to have a Tree Ring account in order to order your yearbook. I will get into more details about that, again, probably at the welcome meeting. Once we've kind of figured out some of the logistics, we'll have a better idea of the pricing for the yearbook, dates on when to submit the order, and so forth. At this point, it's still a little early. We're still figuring things out, but yeah, the sooner you can get those photos, the better, because we're going to be adding, and that's the kids are going through and tagging photos, all the photos and everything. So, yeah, it's exciting. It was great. It was a little rocky with technical difficulties today, but I'm excited to see it. Also, if your student is interested, they can join, and they do not have to. We will not be meeting every week. We will be actually meeting outside of co-op time, and communicating with the kids. We may meet, for a few minutes, but they're going to be working outside of co-op, so that if they are interested in the other clubs, they'll be able to participate in those as well. Any questions? Right.
No, but that's exciting.
Okay,
Do y'all
so
always, oh, real quick. Do y'all always meet at the Central Library for yearbook club?
Sorry, I was one of those people with technical difficulties. My computer broke, so I'm on my husband's today, so I'm all.
That's okay.
But today was our first meeting, and we met there. And although it's a great space, we ran into some Wi-Fi issues.
Mhm.
So that is something that we will need to figure out and discuss and figure out if we're gonna meet there. But so I will
We
definitely
do, Jen, also in the negotiation for renting the office, I also negotiated for him to allow us to use Woodlawn Point on Fridays as needed. So, and he might even be open to other days. So that's a possibility. I know Friday may not be what you want, but we can
Oh
see.
no, that's great. I forgot about that. That good work. And then also, Angela, I will add you if you're. I know you've expressed interest and you have background. I'll add you into our chat and we can coordinate too. Because we also know that everybody's coming from different areas, and so that's why I chose Wednesday because I knew we're used to traveling on that day. So so we're not kind of doing something out of the